It's time for Mac Geek Gab, and listener Will Run for Fun brings us our quick tip of the week with them moving the updates deeper and deeper into menus. I remembered long press is still a thing. Updates are easily and directly accessed this way. Long press the App Store icon, and one of the pop-up items is Updates. Tapping that will show you the apps that have updates available, and you can also tap Update All. More quick tips like this, plus your questions answered today on Mac Geek Gab number 1140 for May the 4th be with you. No, May the 4th, 2026.
Woohoo! Greetings, folks, and welcome to Mac Geek Gab, the show where you send in quick tips just like that. We share them. You send in cool stuff found. We share it. You send in your questions. We share them. We talk about them. We answer them. We try and learn 5 new things every single time we get together here. Our sponsor for this episode is oneskin.co/MGG, where you can go to get 15% off OneSkin with their OS1 peptide that actually targets the visible signs of aging. They went deep on the science. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Yeah. Oh, and our giveaway this month is for the month of May. Function 101 is giving away 5 Apple TV button remotes for 5 of you lucky listeners. So make sure to go to macgeekup.com/giveaway to sign up for that. Here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And here, flying cover for the Rebel Alliance's Pilot Pete. Okay, well, I'm just in New Hampshire too, so
that's right. And for anybody that is in addition to being a Star Wars nerd, or perhaps instead of, but is also a music nerd, today would be Dave Brubeck Day, because 5-4. So there you go.
Yeah. Tell folks what the Apple button giveaway actually does, Dave.
Oh, we've talked about it on the show before.
Okay.
The Function 101's been.
It's bad for your memory.
No, I mean, we talk about a lot of things. It was cool stuff found a while back, yeah. But yeah, their Apple TV button remote is it is all buttons. So it's for people who don't want to have to deal with the weird little scroll wheel thingy at the top. It's actually got buttons for like a D-pad with directional navigation and all of that good stuff. So yeah, it's a fun little thing. Yep. So sign up to win one. MacGeekUp.com/giveaway. All right. Well, that was our first quick tip. Adam is our schedules were not the scheduling gods were not aligned with us this week. So here we are. But Adam will be back next week. And moving on, Ventmore sent in this quick tip. Speaking of long presses, if you have a folder that contains multiple apps, like you can have, or even one app. I mean, I guess you can have a folder with one app in it, but a folder of apps on your iPhone, if you long press on that folder, if it's showing you notifications on the folder, if you long press on it, the first 4 apps with the most notifications will be shown in the pop-up menu, so that you can just tap on the app to open it. You don't have to dig into the folder. You just long press on it, and then the one or ones with notifications will be surfaced to the top, so you can just jump to them. He says, I probably won't use it as often as I don't have any multi-page folders. But if you do, it could save you from swiping through looking for the apps with notifications. Yeah, I like that. That's good. I had no idea.
Look at that.
I know, right?
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
97 on my YouTube app.
Okay. That's fine.
Guess I know what I'll be doing the rest of the day. See you guys.
Doom scrolling YouTube. There you go. Oh.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, that's painful to have 197 notifications.
Yeah.
I
mean,
guess I need to unsubscribe from a.
Yeah. I wonder, this is one of those
thing, right?
This is one of those things where I don't know the answer for it, but I feel like there is a way that AI could help with this.
Oh, I bet you're right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I know Apple's doing some of it already, right? Like if you look in Notification Center at all those notifications, when they're collapsed, Apple Intelligence already summarizes the notifications for you.
That's
right.
cool.
So like we're halfway there. I just wonder if there's a way of like having it learn which of the notifications are important to me, and then kind of even saying, okay, look, these other ones are, 2 weeks old and older, and they're not the kind of thing that matters to you anymore. So I'm just going to like expire them out so that you only have 12 notifications instead of, the ones for the last year of your life.
Right.
I don't know. There's something there that can be done.
Well, I actually have a bit of a quick tip right there, Dave. Now
All
that
right.
you mention it. So if you swipe down from the left, you see your notifications, and it says Notification Center. Right next to that, there's an X, and you can click on that X, and the word clear comes up. You tap that, and they're all magically gone.
Sure.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
yeah, I mean that's like the that kills everything. But
that's the nuclear option.
That's the nuclear option. Yeah, that's the right way to put it. Yep.
But yeah, and I find I do that probably a couple times a month. Just get
same.
rid of them. There's just too many there.
Yeah, it's just I've already. Yep. Yeah, I'm eager to see where we go with all this.
Yeah, the proper way to deal with that probably is actually reduce the number of things that you allow to notify you. Because clearly, when I have that many notifications, I don't need them. I've just said, yeah, okay, notify me.
So there you go. You just nailed it.
Yeah.
Apple needs to pay attention. Maybe they already do, but like if Apple were to pay attention to the notifications that we engage with versus the notifications we choose to ignore, it could, after several weeks, come up and say, hey, I noticed that in this app, you only care about these notifications and not these. Do you want me to maybe not completely ignore them, but compartmentalize them here, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Fix that for me.
Yeah. This is all doable. So anyway,
it is.
Yeah.
Turns out that whole machine learning thing can actually help. So
correct.
Anyway,
yeah.
So I've got another one from Dan. I'm not even going to pronounce his last name, which has no vowels in it. So
I think it's his. I think it's his handle in our Discord. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So he says if updating through the Mac, which I didn't realize you could do this. This is a cool quick tip. If anyone is putting off updating an iPhone or iPad because it's out of space, you can get around this issue by plugging into a Mac and downloading the update there instead of directly onto the device. It may require the Mac to be running fairly recent software, but that seems to depend on which OSs are involved. I just helped a couple relatives with updates recently, and the scenarios were iOS 18.7.2 to 18.7.7 required macOS 14 to be upgraded to macOS 15. iOS 15.8 to 15.87 worked fine, but on macOS 12. But those phones were both about full, and iOS is taking 13 gigabytes these days. Wow. I remember having to delete stuff off my iPad as a side note in order to get updates. Because we had small iPads from work. So
yeah.
And then Apple quietly released 18.7.7 for more iPhones that previously, for people who don't want to go to iOS 26, I have a test iPhone 13 mini, and someone wisely told me you need to put 18.7.7 or to boot it before 18.7.7 will show up.
Makes sense.
And Wikipedia does a great job of keeping track of all these releases. That's great. We'll put that link in the show notes. There's a very similar page for iPad OS and Mac OS. So, I wish I'd have known that, because how many times have I taken a bunch of content off of my iPad so I could update it as required for work?
I know.
And because they were, they only gave us 64 gig iPads.
Yeah, that's not enough. Oh, no.
It's not.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind, because my very first hard drive ever was 40 megabytes, Dave.
Oh, same. Yeah, same.
64 gigs. I could never fill that up.
Kiwi Graham points out that iMazing will also install updates from your Mac to iOS devices. So,
absolutely.
Love that. Speaking of deleting apps and all of that, Jan Landy has a tip for us. If you go to the App Store on your iPhone, click on your profile icon and go to Updates. Or if you use our opening quick tip and long press and get to Updates, however you get there, it's fine. You'll see the list of apps, right, that it says there are updates for. Well, this is a great place to delete those apps if you see one that's about to update that you realize you don't need anymore. And you can do it just by swiping left on an app in the updates list, and it will offer to delete the app before it ever even updates. I do this all the time. I don't know why we've never talked about this on the show before, but it's a great place to be like, oh, hey, thanks for reminding me about that app I don't want. Bink, off it goes. Done. So, yeah, great little tips.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Love it.
Well, Ben writes in with a great little quick tip that he said, I recently started using an iPad with a keyboard trackpad case. I just discovered that the date time area of the status bar is a clickable element that reveals Notification Center, which would be impossible to show otherwise without swiping down from the top. Also, the status icons in the top right, where you might swipe to reach Control Center, are also clickable to the same effect. Oddly, I can press Escape to dismiss the Notification Center, but I can't escape to dismiss Control Center. I guess the difference is that Notification Center fills the screen, whereas Control Center only takes up a small area. So, yeah.
Wow.
It's been a long time since I've had an iPad with a keyboard.
Yeah, but a lot of people do right now. I mean, that's interesting.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I certainly didn't know that. That's great. Love that. Thanks, man. Terry wrote in back in show 1138 a couple weeks ago. We were talking about signing up for TSA Touchless PreCheck.
Right.
And I had mentioned that I couldn't do it before our flight home from Austin because we were on Southwest. We were flying on Southwest, and in order to sign up for it on Southwest, you use the app, and the app requires you to scan your passport. And I was not traveling with my passport on that trip, so I could not do it. And Terry wrote in and said, "You don't need your passport." And Terry was correct with an asterisk. We both were right, it turns out. Terry showed me how American Airlines lets you just type your passport information in, and that signs you up. So I went through all the airlines, Pete, to figure out which ones were which.
Yeah.
American and Alaska allow you to type things in.
Okay.
Now, there's another asterisk on that. Alaska, you cannot do it in the app. You have to do it on the web. There's no user interface on the iPhone for signing up for this. Yeah. So, I mean, you can do it. It's in the iPhone app. You're right. You can do it on your phone. You just have to go to their webpage. Right. Yeah. And then that's it. Then you're good to go. Delta, United, and Southwest all require scanning. What's interesting about Southwest is you can store your passport data by typing it in for them. But in order to sign up for Touchless, you have to go through the scanning process. Okay. And then JetBlue, at least as of this moment in time, does not yet support TSA Touchless at all, which seems so bizarre to me. But that's
because they're kind of a big airline.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah. So American, Alaska, you got to type you can type it in. There's no scanning. Delta, United, Southwest, you have to scan. And it has to be done. It only lasts a year. So, put it on your calendar. I have put it on my calendar now for, April 1st every year to just go in and re-update everything, hopefully I'm home. And so, yeah. So anyway.
I signed up with Delta but have yet to get activated when we do it. Now, in fairness, we ride on Sandwich Girls passes. So,
yeah, it has to be.
I have a feeling that if it's not a purchase ticket, they're not going to.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might just not go through that process in their system, at least not yet. Right. Yeah. Interesting.
So,
Yep.
but one of the cool things they did do for retirees now and families for active is that it used to be verboten that only Debbie could go in and make our reservation or make our listings. We want to fly on this flight on this day, and Delta has recently said it, so we can do it. So any Delta families out there, family members who ride on pass now have access to making their own listings. So
interesting. Hey, that's good. Yeah.
That talk about a small section of the audience.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it probably doesn't hit our 20% rule, but it was easy, quick.
Yeah. So
Nora's might hit our 20% rule, though.
I think it will, because we talked about different QR code generators and all that, and she wrote in with one that's on the web. I was shocked. She says, I came across your page here, and it was episode 967. We talked about looking into QR code generators and thought your readers and listeners might find this generator useful. And we'll put the link in the show notes, but it's websiteplanet.com. And it's a free QR code generator that's fully customizable. You can change colors, add frames, and include a logo or social links. It's a simple way to make a QR code more visually appealing and engaging. So I have always used iQR, but this is a web interface. Yeah, change colors.
Oh, yeah.
I played with it a little bit. What I forgot to do, at least I don't recall doing, is finding out to what degree you can modify it to the point where it becomes unusable. With iQR, you can make it unusable, and it will tell you, so, hey, this isn't going to work. You've covered up too much, or you've not got good contrast on your colors and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, play with it. And the beauty is, you make it right there. You can always point your phone right at it. If you're doing it on your laptop or your desktop, you can point your phone at the QR code it generates and go, yeah, it's going to work.
Interesting.
So
that's actually kind of a cool generator. All right. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. And that's always something. I don't know why QR codes have always fascinated me. They're fun to play with. It's amazing how instantaneous it is.
Interesting.
Or close to it.
Yeah.
And I don't remember which episode, but many years ago, and I'm sure it's available somewhere, Steve Gibson on Security Now described all the guts of a QR code and how and why it works and all that. So, yeah.
Interesting.
That was
I like
a fun episode, but that had to be a decade ago or more.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Fun.
So, should we get caught?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So Javier wrote in with a don't get caught. It was rather long, so I summarized it, but this is essentially what he wrote. Listener Javier updated his Mac Mini M4 to macOS 26.4 beta, keyword beta, and it triggered a cascade of issues. First, his external HFS Plus hard drive suddenly showed errors and went read-only, forcing him back up and a reformat. He switched to APFS, but saw slower performance on the spinning drive. On the upside, he had a full backup and didn't lose any data. So good move there, Javier. Next, his document app, Eagle Filer, wouldn't launch at all. Fortunately, in a little research, he found the developer had released a beta fix to work around the OS issue. Then things got weirder and weirder. Make MKV started failing, with macOS claiming that the app was damaged, and even disk images wouldn't open, showing no file system, including older, known good copies. To top it off, he tried updating to a newer beta version multiple times, and the install on the newer beta version failed at the last few minutes every time. So at this point, he's stuck. Downgrading means, wiping the machine and rebuilding from scratch. So he's choosing to ride it out until a stable public release drops. His takeaway, don't run beta OS versions on anything you rely on. Your daily driver. Do it, or if you're going to, do it with your eyes wide open that you've got backups and... Yeah,
be ready to run betas of all of the third-party apps, too. That's my initial takeaway from this, for sure. Because Apple, a lot of times, it's like the changes are under the hood and performance-related and not at all impactful to the app ecosystem at large, But sometimes they are. And it sounds like maybe they had updated some security certificates that these things needed to adopt, or I don't know what the issue was, but I've seen it happen. And it's a surprise because you can get lulled into a false sense of confidence with running betas, because so many of them are kind of the first type that I described, where you're just getting the updates to Apple things and nothing impacts your third-party apps. So you're totally fine.
Right.
And then there are those updates where things break.
I don't recall when I stopped, but that's what happened to me. I was running betas and I got away with it like a bandit in the night for a long time. And then the next thing I know, I had shackles on my ankles and I was not running anymore.
Yeah.
Whoa, what happened here? And it was a painful process to recover. And I went, okay, as pretty much a one computer person, I need to stop doing this.
Yes. Yeah. Have another computer that stays on the release cycle. And even then, we see it, right? Yeah. Even then, sometimes a release comes out and third-party apps have not been updated to be compatible with it, or whatever, but at least you've given things some time, because if you're running the first developer beta of a new release of Mac OS, that means the developer hasn't run it yet either, right? Like if you're on the developer beta cycle, you're with them, not giving them any lead time, which is the whole point of the developer beta cycle, is to give developers lead time to make sure, hey, this does break my app, or there is a thing I can change. And then they have the opportunity to submit feedback if Apple's gotten something wrong, but also update their app to stay up. So, love it.
And I recall I waited a long time to come to Tahoe, and I'm still not my favorite operating system ever.
No, this is the longest that I have not gone to the latest OS in the studio here. I'm still on Sequoia 515.
We got a question. I don't know if you saw it yesterday. I don't recall whether I answered it or not. I think I let it go by because there was more to it. But someone was saying, "Hey, am I clear to go to Tahoe yet?"
Yeah.
If you don't have to, I wouldn't.
No. I'm eager to see what's announced at WWDC. This will probably be the first time that I
skip a full cycle.
That I might skip a full cycle. Well, I don't know if I would skip a full cycle. I might do the incremental update, but maybe not. Like we'll see what's announced at WW and whether Mac OS 27 is something that makes more sense to go to. We'll see, because they say that they're addressing a lot of things. And at this point, there's nothing about Tahoe, Mac OS 26, that's driving me to update this machine. And I had so many issues initially with things just being slow and indexing and all of that stuff that now I'm just gun shy. But again, it even if they fixed all that stuff, and I don't know if they have or not, but I know they fixed a lot of it, of course. But it's like, well, I'm used to running this here. Why would if this ain't broke at all? There's nothing I feel like I'm missing. Nothing.
Yeah. And it isn't my favorite graphics package either.
Yeah, right. There's that too. I mean, but I also know that I will want to be current.
Yeah.
Before I let too much time go by. There is that. So,
but there's still security updating what you're on. So
it's not so much the security updates. It's if they make a change to something that opens up a feature that I will want, they make a change that opens up a feature that a third-party app can leverage that I will want, which is more likely at this point. Sure. But either is possible. Then it's like, okay, now if I've kept myself back for 2 years, 3 years, now that upgrade becomes kind of a not necessarily a world of hurt, but the concerns of a world of hurt, right? Because I'm making such a big leap, and I do need to rely on this machine, and I need it to run audio in real time, and that is it's tricky,
Yeah.
So So that for that reason, I will want to update. But I know that that's counter to what most people who run like recording studios do. They get their Mac in a state where it works for them and it's reliable and they understand it and it runs, Logic or Pro Tools or, whatever they're running. And then they leave it basically until they upgrade the machine.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But it's a tool. Like it, do you upgrade your hammer? Do you do incremental updates on your hammer? No. You buy a hammer, you get the right one, it works. Great. Then someday comes when either that hammer doesn't work as well anymore, or there's a better hammer. It's like, okay, I'm just going to buy a better hammer and build it from scratch. They don't use Migration Assistant when they get a new machine. It's a whole different process, and I get it. Like it makes perfect sense to me, but I have to live in both worlds. I don't get to just be the recording studio guy. I do this show, and not having access to the Tahoe features while we're talking about Tahoe here on this computer, even though I'm running it on my other two, even that limitation is an issue at times. So, yeah. Anyway. I think, we've got questions. We've got reviews.
I've got questions.
Yeah. And, yeah. All right. Well, let's, you know what I want to do? I want to talk about our sponsors, and then we can do all the other stuff. But for right now, our sponsors. And you know me, right? Like I'm the guy who reads spec sheets before I buy or even try anything. So when I heard about our sponsor, OneSkin, I went straight to the science. 4 peer-reviewed studies on a peptide called, easy for me to say, called OS1, proven to target the damaged cells that drive how skin ages. Longevity scientists call them zombie cells, and that's exactly what drives the fine lines and loss of firmness. OneSkin's OS1 peptide targets those specifically. I'm a few weeks in using their face and eye creams, and my skin's already feeling like a little smoother. I've been taking pictures to like track the progress because, that's how I go. Plus, 4 peer-reviewed clinical studies, over 10,000 5-star reviews, and recognition from Bloomberg as a leader in skin longevity. I'd run OS1 as a launch agent if Apple let me. Don't get caught aging on default settings. Born from over a decade of longevity research, OneSkin's OS1 peptide is proven to target the visible signs of aging, helping you unlock your healthiest skin now and as you age. For a limited time, try OneSkin with 15% off using code MGG at oneskin.co/MGG. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code MGG. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please, as always, support the show and tell them we sent you. Check it out. I'm loving this, and I think you're going to like it too. And our thanks to OneSkin for sponsoring this episode. And while we're here, Pete, I want to share a review. It's been a couple of weeks since we've shared our reviews, but they keep coming in.
Before you do, I'd like to really take a moment to jump in and say, OneSkin is sponsoring my show as well. I've been using it for a couple of weeks as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I'm the last guy on the planet that ever thought I would be interested in skincare. And I really like it. I take 15 seconds in the morning, 15 seconds in the evening, and put the eye and face cream on, and I love it.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You are the last guy. Like I'm loving hearing this. Like, that's great. Yeah.
I mean, all the sun and the radiation and the G's and all that stuff,
It wears on us. Yes.
I'm 22 years old, folks. Look at this face. But yeah, I'm the last guy who thought I'd be interested in this, and I really love their product. So
amazing.
I had to jump in with that. So.
No, thank you. Yeah, I know it's great. Yeah. I love it. All right. Well, then I do want to share Sleepy CBR's review that came into Apple Podcasts in the U.S. 5 stars, best podcast. I look forward to every show. I spend a lot of time driving, listening to various Apple-related podcasts. This is by far my favorite. I love not getting caught. Keep it up. I love that you worked that into the review. That's great.
Yeah, nice. I love not getting caught too, but that's
yeah, it's part of the deal, isn't it? Yeah, right. We all do.
Yeah.
All right.
So
let's do some questions, shall we?
we shall, because, if you have a question, you could send it in to feedback@macgeekgab.com, by the way.
I would say that the right place to send it, though, is feedback@macgeekgab.com.
Well, fair enough. And GW sent his question into feedback@macgeekgab.com. And when I saw it, I wanted to answer it. And I'm like, this one's a little over my experience level. He says, I have had a folder titled 2018 from years and years ago. Every time I delete
This is a folder in Notes. Just
Yes.
to set the context. Yeah.
Question on Apple Notes, yes. He says, every time I delete it, the folder comes back. Speaking of zombies, it may come back in a day, a week, a month, or longer, but it always comes back and appears. This has been going on for years with this folder. It's the only folder that I delete that has done this. I'll delete it from my Mac, my iPhone, and my iPad at the same time, and I'll also delete it from the deleted folder in Apple Notes. But it never fails to return in its own time. What the heck? GW. Whoa.
All right. Yep. We've
Not
seen
cool Notes.
No, we've seen this with, syncing in general. We say sync is hard on the show often. And I think we're seeing one of the sort of side effects of this. So clearly something is causing Notes to resurface this, to bring it back, which tells me that when you do sync, there is, something needs to be the source of truth. And that source can move around, right? With Notes, it's usually the thing that updated it most recently, right? So you delete this on your Mac goes and says, I have things to talk about with syncing. And then it talks to whatever the sync manager is, and the sync manager says, okay, what do you got for me? Great. And then the sync manager has something else, and it tries to merge it all together. And it's like, right, well, your delete of this happened before someone else created it, so your delete gets ignored. We're going to put it back for you, right? Obviously, this is incorrect, but that's usually the sort of the 10,000-foot view process of how syncing would be architected, right? And I'm obviously simplifying, but that's a good place to go. So what I would do is start messing with it a little bit. I would add a note in the folder. Right now the folder's empty because you empty the folder and then you're going to delete it. Fine. Add a new note to the folder and put, a line or two of text in the note so that it's got some substance to it. Great. Let it sit for a second. Let it do its sync. Then rename the folder from 2018 to, 2018 old, or my favorite is Kill Me, KILLME, right? And I know if I have a document or a folder or anything with that in it, I know that it is safe to delete the entire thing and its contents, right? That's just my note to myself. Kill me. Great. So rename the folder, do whatever works for you. Perfect. Then, wait for those changes to sync everywhere. Look on another device, make sure this change has made it. And then once that has happened, now delete the folder. And hopefully that gets you there. However, failing that, or maybe even as a first step, visit iCloud.com/notes. That is the cloud's copy. And I even forgot about this when I first started digging in. It was like, right, there we have notes in the cloud now. We didn't used to. We always had notes in the cloud ever since they started syncing. What we didn't have was a way to access it, but now we do. Right? So you can go to iCloud.com/notes as long as you're signed into your Apple ID, and you can manage it from there. And candidly, that might be actually the first step now that I'm thinking about this. Go to iCloud.com/notes, delete your 2018 folder, and see if that change just propagates down, because it probably will.
And as you said that last part, Dave, it led me to think that is there somewhere hidden in there, similar to the Synology, that you can check, put deleted folders on the Synology back on my laptop if I delete it from my laptop.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Right.
I don't think so. You know what?
Okay.
Actually, I don't want to. I don't know. iCloud.
I wonder if that setting's in there somewhere.
/notes. Yeah, I think I might still be logged in from when I was looking at this before. So let me see. iCloud Notes. I see my little picture. Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm not going to share my screen because I have no idea what you would see if I shared my notes. There's probably
log in your social security
there's definitely some things. Yeah, exactly. I am not seeing deleted notes here at all. But there is an option in the upper right kind of menu on iCloud.com called data recovery. And I had no idea that this existed. So maybe here's another quick tip, folks. And now I will share my screen with the aforementioned risks. Yep. So, you can restore your files, your bookmarks, your contacts, your calendars. I like it. And you can pick like where it's got, for me, it's got yesterday at 7:59, day before at 7:59. Yeah. Huh. Data recovery. I will put a link to that in the show notes. That's excellent.
Don't bass backwards into that note.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
It's very cool. But I don't know. But notes is not listed in data recovery. No. So that doesn't solve that problem. And I don't think it's there in files. But that's really interesting. Wow. I'm into this discovery.
Almost, yeah. That's almost like a time machine sort of
I
thing
get to go
there.
back. So I'm looking at contacts, for example. I get to go back. We're recording this on the 30th of April. I can go to yesterday, and then also every day for the last few days, and then I can go all the way back to March 30th. So I've got a month worth of archives on my contacts. My calendars appear to have even more than that. I can go back. It's a month's worth, but it's more granular because I make changes to my calendars more frequently. That's why. My contacts I don't change every day. My calendars I change multiple times a day. So I've got 31 archives, which makes sense to go back to March 30th. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Doesn't help with notes, sorry, but it definitely could help with this, with something else. Wow. Who knew? Love it.
Well, now you all know.
Now you all know. That's right.
And so don't we, as Sandwich Girl would say.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
all right.
New England way to say it, Boston way to say it. So don't we.
So don't we. That's really efficient, though. I like there's something about that. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Steve has a very long email that I am going to do my level best to summarize. And had I realized it, I would have let AI do this. But instead, he says, after listening to all of your discussions about email, I'm trying to consolidate all my emails to go through my new Fastmail account, and I need a little help. I have an EarthLink account that I've had for 25 years. And he says he's paying $15 a month for it, which is, yeah. And he wants to cancel that. But he says, I've had it for 25 years, and that's the email I use to log into everything. I have set up Fastmail to get all my inbox messages from EarthLink, but all the other folders in EarthLink are untouched. He says, so I use Outlook 2019 to archive and then delete all the contents of those EarthLink folders, but I'm not sure how to get this archive over to Fastmail. He says, the big question, if I cancel my EarthLink account, when I log into the internet account with my EarthLink, will I still get all the security messages sent to my email? In other words, how do I preserve getting email to my EarthLink account when I cancel my EarthLink subscription? He says he has iCloud and Gmail and other things that he can forward to Fastmail too. He says he has his own domain that he's trying to add to Fastmail, but hasn't been able to configure it correctly. He hosts the domain itself with Cloudflare. So to conclude, I'd like to cancel my EarthLink account without missing the security emails. I'd like to set up my domain as an email domain with Fastmail and have all my email go through that. Help.
So I gave him a brilliant answer, and then I saw you answered it as well, and I really like your answer even better. But first and foremost, don't cancel EarthLink yet. Keep it a couple more months, as painful as it is to keep paying them. I think they're like the super glue, like AOL was. You just can't leave.
They were. Yeah.
You can't hard. I think syncing's hard. Try leaving EarthLink or AOL.
Well, and I'll jump in here. I like Steve's plan because I love Fastmail. I've been using it for a long time, but I don't want anyone to know my fastmail.com email address because if I ever choose to leave Fastmail for whatever reason, I want my email to I don't want to be in Steve's shoes. We've all been there, and you only want to be there once or one more time. And so Steve's idea of adding his domain to his Fastmail account is smart because that way he is platform agnostic. His domain is his and can point anywhere. So I love this.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, don't cancel EarthLink yet. You're going to keep it because you're still getting verification login codes, that sort of thing. And you got to go back and find out what's using that, your verification codes, security codes, reset your logins, and that sort of thing. And my recommendation is go into your password manager if you use one, and hopefully you are, and find those critical accounts. And it may take a while. I would go, personally, I'd go alphabetical and try and do, 10 a day, and just, make those changes so they get them over to the new email. But forwarding EarthLink to Fastmail, forward that all to your Fastmail. And then the old mail migration, he's going from Outlook to Apple Mail to Fastmail, and like you said, that's right. The domain email setup. This to me seemed to be he was having problems with the DNS records and the maintenance or mail exchanger and SPF records and that sort of thing. That to me seems like, Dave, a perfect opportunity to use an agentic browser and have it help walk him through those settings. I could be wrong, but here's where your answer came in. But I'll save it to you. Leave that to you here in a second. But the last thing was it mail? Bottom line was he's doing it right. Keep the EarthLink a little longer. It's cheap insurance so you avoid getting locked out. And I liked your answer. So
my answer was two things. And they're both either phone calls or chat interfaces, but contact support for both Fastmail and EarthLink. The reason you're going to want to contact EarthLink support, I believe there is a way. I don't think your $15 a month is paying for just email. I think you still are paying for some other services at EarthLink. Whatever those might be, they're not email. So you may be able to completely get rid of the $15 a month and still keep your EarthLink email address long term. There are many records of this on the internet as having happened. But at the very least, even if they want to charge you $1 a month or, a few dollars a month for just email, at least you're bringing it way down, from 15. So call EarthLink support, tell them what you're doing, find out what you're paying for, and get those things in line with each other. Don't cancel it yet, to Pete's point. But I also read that if you set up a forward, right now you have Fastmail slurping mail from EarthLink. I would turn that around and I would go to EarthLink and have it forward your mail to your Fastmail account. But I wouldn't do that yet because you're about to change everything about your Fastmail account. But once you get your Fastmail account set up the way you're going to set it up, and I'll get there, then forward to that. It's going to be, your address at your domain is what you're going to do. And I've heard from some people that forwarding, once you get that forward set up on EarthLink's side, if you then, after the forward setup, cancel your EarthLink account, the forward stays in place. Confirm that on your support interaction with them. So that's maybe step one. That's fine. Step two, contact Fastmail. And this might actually be your step one. Contact Fastmail support. They are very good. They're very responsive. They're all nerds over there. And they will happily help you get your MX records set so that your domain is working with Fastmail. They do have some wizards online. I like your thoughts of an agentic browser, Pete, but I wouldn't do it for this. Like, there's no reason. And
well, there's a reason I said that, Dave. It's because my paradigm with so many things online anymore, it's only available online, and that's why I thought your answer was brilliant. Pick up the phone and call them.
Pick up the phone and call, or you can probably chat with Fastmail support. I don't know, but interact with a human that's going to help you. The reason I hesitate with the agentic browsers is with something like this.
Oh, you could break stuff.
It can break stuff, and like it navigating. It's one thing to have it do research for you and find all the things and like all that stuff. It's great. Having it make changes to a website where it has to navigate through, a rat's nest of JavaScript to get it done. That the agentic browsers aren't quite there yet. They're all working on this because it's the problem. But like trying to navigate a Google Sheet is a perfect example. This should be like you would think like Google's Gemini could do this. It cannot. I mean, it can, but it fails often because think about what it takes from a JavaScript standpoint to put a spreadsheet in a web browser. Like this, we take it for granted because we've had it for so long, but it's a mess and it's just very difficult. So I like maybe having it go and find the answers for you, even having it identify what you've got wrong, but do the changes yourself for now. But but that's just sort of general advice for the agentic browsing. Fastmail,
because then you know what you have more of a handle on what you've done at its advice as opposed to it doing it behind the scenes.
Correct. Yes. No, it's exactly right. So do that, and then but Fastmail they have. I think they even have a wizard for like setting up your Cloudflare domain to work right with Fastmail. But if that wizard's not working, if you've exhausted that, certainly contact Fastmail support. You're going to be in good shape. Going back to the beginning, when you said that you wanted to migrate all of your mail, archived mail from EarthLink to Fastmail, Fastmail has mail migration tools, and they're great. I did it when I migrated years ago. I had Gmail, and I just set it up. I logged it into both. I went into Fastmail. I logged it into my Gmail, and I went to sleep. And by the time I woke up, all my mail had been copied over. I then had to go delete it or do whatever I wanted with it at Gmail, but it had copied everything over. So, let's see. The order of operations as I would have it. Step one, get that domain set up with Fastmail. So contact Fastmail support, fix that. Then step two, get EarthLink forwarding all your mail to your new address at your new domain. And then step three, turn off the Fastmail slurp things over engine because you don't want it doing that when you've got EarthLink just forwarding everything over. It's just more efficient. And then number four, call EarthLink. So and talk to them about what you've got going on, what you're going to do, and have them kind of guide you. There you go.
You're certainly paying for customer support. So
yeah, and I want to point out, I loved your process, Pete, of going through 10 a day in your password manager. Yeah. You will find that some services don't let you change your email address. Your account name is your email address. And I still have some things that are like, Dave at Mac Observer, that I had to, like Ecobee is a great example. I love Ecobee. Yeah. Stupid the way they run their database on the back end because you can't change your email. I assume it's because I don't have an account number. Like in their database, my account ID is my email. And to me, that's there's reasons why that's bad practice, and this is one of them. So I had to either live with my Dave at Mac Observer as my Ecobee like account, or which is I chose Plan B, which was to just create a brand new Ecobee account and manually copy my things over. It wasn't as terrible as I thought it would be, but it's like this is I just want to change my frickin' email address. It's very difficult.
Hard. Yeah.
No. And I even emailed the president of Ecobee, and I was like, can you do this for me on the back end? He's like, no. Like, okay, got it. I'm on it. Yep.
Even we don't know how to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't think it was, to say it was impossible was probably wrong, would be wrong. He didn't say it was impossible. He just said he couldn't do it, which is two different things. But my guess is it would be possible, but might break a lot of things if they've got, references all throughout their system, related tables and all that. If they're all keyed on my email address name, changing it in one would break all those references. So it's like best to just create a new account. Yep. But also, as Soccer Hallways in the Discord chat says, use unique IDs, not emails, as your account identifiers. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. But, that's how it is.
Well, you aren't thinking of that when you're setting up a new device. You just assume that.
Yeah.
You don't know their system.
No. He's saying their system should be using unique IDs.
Right. Yeah.
We don't have any control over it. Like even if they told me right out of the gate, like we use email addresses, you can't ever change it. Be like, well, I don't think at the time I would have. It's like, oh yeah, still
you were
David
considering selling Mac Observer.
Correct. Yeah, it's like I own the domain, so I'm good, right? Yeah. I might choose not to put it on Gmail or something else, but yeah. So, alas.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we move on?
We should. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go with.
What do we have next? Judy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Judy wrote in and said, "I've been using Evernote for years. It's gotten better, and I rely on the OCR function. I have thousands of notes. Just found out my personal plan is going up to $249 a year. Ouch. I'm a heavy user, but I don't collaborate with anyone, nor am I part of a company. Just a retired person that can't afford that price. Looking for an alternative that has OCR built in. Judy."
Yes, Evernote's pricing is crazy, and thank you for your timely note, because it reminds me that this is the last year I'm paying for my Evernote account. Every year, the renewal comes up in one of the months that begins with J, and I can't remember which one. And I'm always like, oh crap, I got to figure, whatever, I'll just pay for another year. But the price is like tripling this year, so I ain't doing it. Yeah. That said, what are our options? If you search around on the internet, Microsoft OneNote comes up as the best free alternative to Evernote. And it is right. Like, and the reason it's right is because Microsoft OneNote is cross-platform. But if we're only using this on our Apple devices, we have access to Apple Notes. In the Apple ecosystem, which is also, to say that it's free is probably an incorrect way when we all look at our bank accounts and after we've bought all our Apple devices. But it is included with all that which we have already purchased. So, and it has OCR in it. It has, they each have OCR in their own ways. So I would look at Microsoft OneNote and or Apple Notes, and you can migrate your data from Evernote to either one of these solutions. There's different paths out there, but they are well paved. So sure. That's what I would choose. And as much as I complain about Apple Notes, and I will continue to complain about Apple Notes, it's not terrible. It's got a lot of good things about it. So yep.
Does it OCR?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I've never used that function.
Yeah, it's kind of just there, and you can just click on an image or PDF.
I guess Mac OS kind of has OCR in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all just right there. Exactly. Yeah. It's a system service. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, as Soccer Hallway says, there are worse things out there than Apple Notes. So, yeah. So.
Indeed.
All right. Where are we on time? Oh, we're still doing good. Okay. Yeah. We're moving along, Pete. Let's see. That was Judy. So now we have Todd. And Todd has one for you, Pete. Yeah. He says, I just was in Safari, and I went to the Safari menu and chose About Safari. And I noticed that the copyright there is 2003 to 2025. Aren't we in 2026? Cheers, Todd.
Linear time, Todd. Linear time. Dude, catch up. Keep up. Or go back. One or the other, man. You're following that linear time. You're so constrained by your paradigm, man. Okay. Enough being a smart aleck. All right. I had to ask too. I thought, well, this is silly. Yeah, it should be updated. Turns out that that date is tied to the legal notice's last update. So while they're developing things and that sort of stuff's going on, when they change their legal notice, that's when the lawyers. When the lawyers get involved, that's when they'll update the date on the copyright or the protection notice. So, yeah, that's why the copyright notice is out of date. It turns out I didn't know. I admit right up front, I had to ask AI, and it came back and said, "Yeah, those are legal notices updating."
I think AI hallucinated an answer. I'm 100%
I said,
certain
"Are
of
you
this.
sure?" I did. I went back.
Sure.
Yeah. And,
No, because
it was often completely wrong and never in doubt.
No, because I'm looking here. Now, granted, I am on Mac OS 15, right? We've already established that.
Yeah.
I went to the About window for Mac OS 15.7.4, and it has a copyright from 1983 to 2026.
Yeah.
Now,
as does 26.
Right.
OS.
Yeah. And then I went into Safari, and I'm running Safari 26.3. So even though I'm not running Mac OS 26, I am running the Safari that comes along with Mac OS 26, because that's how you can do things. Yeah. And Safari 26.3 has its copyright. And I will note Safari 26.3 was released this year, has its note 2003 to 2025. My assumption is that this is an oversight. Because it is the new, like it was released. It has technology that's in there. Like it should be 2026 because it has tech. Now you may be, this may be one of those things where it's like, well, this part of it is only 2025. It reminds me of when my dad was a kid, a teenager probably. He worked at a tie factory. That made like neckties and things like that.
TIE, not THAI.
Correct. And it was in the United States. And and actually that's relevant to my story. He said that what they would do, now this is, many, many decades ago, they would make the ties there in Norwalk, Connecticut. And then they would buy labels that were made in France. And the labels that were made in France said on them, made in France. And then they would take these labels that they ordered from France and sew them on to the neckties that they made here in the United States and sell them with these labels.
Well, the labels were made in France.
That is correct. And at the time, that was, I don't want to say that was legal. I will say it was not illegal yet. Yeah. He knew it was wrong, which is why he remembered this story to tell it years later. But eventually, the Consumer Protection Agency or whomever it was came up and said, "You can't. No, stop that. That's misleading, and you know it. So but I feel like this is one of those things where I don't think it's that. Well, the About box hasn't changed since 2025, but it actually has. Like the About box, the version number there has changed. So I think it's just an oversight. I can't.
I can't argue with you in that sense. But it seems to me then you could copy Safari, release it as your own browser this year because it's clearly not under the copyright.
That's not how protection. That works. Let me put you in touch with my dad, Pete.
And a good lawyer?
Yeah, you might. Well, yeah, you'll need a good lawyer. I don't think a good lawyer can help you, but you'll need one. Yeah. Let's see, where are we? Yeah, well, let's do Marty's. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
so the answer to Todd's is I don't know. I think it's just an oversight. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah. All right. Marty wrote in, gentlemen, I have a 2019 MacBook Pro Intel, as does Adam, I believe. So I'm on my last supported version of Mac OS, but I also have a watch and a phone that are newer and still getting updates. Can you look into the future? Look into your crystal ball. We'll just travel up there and back, linear time again. And let me know what becomes of my ecosystem once fall rolls around. My existing workflows and handoffs will my existing handoffs and workflows keep on keeping on? Oh, but what what to do, or what do you recommend for people who are now facing the end of Mac OS with the last generation of Intel's? Still seems like plenty of life left in this laptop, but Apple's telling me it's time to move on. Thanks, Marty.
Right. So before I answer this question, I want to point out that the About box in Notes on my computer has a copyright from 2011 to 2024. So, like, I know that this was updated more recently than that. Yeah. So there maybe there is a method to this. Like, I don't know. Anyway, this will be
good lawyers. You'd think they'd be on this if that was an issue.
I'm curious to hear what feedback we get about this.
Yeah.
For Marty's question, I would 100% agree that your 2019 7-year-old laptop still has life in it in a general sense. I talked about how we just replaced my dad's laptop that was much older than that. It was a 2014, I want to say. And it was still fine, but for the, very swollen battery inside, and it made more sense financially to replace the laptop than to, put the money into a new battery on a laptop that was 12 years old or something like that. But his 12-year-old laptop was really still fast. Like, using it, I was concerned for the battery, but otherwise, like, it was great. Like, it's fast. It was all those things. Obviously, it was Intel. And so I know that your 2019 MacBook Pro, it's even faster than that because it's, 7 years newer or something than his. 5 years newer than his. So, but we've transitioned, or we have seen the transition from Intel to Apple Silicon. And there are some benefits that you will get with that. The battery specifically, Apple Silicon manages battery usage much better than we ever saw with Intel. And so you will get better battery life out of a newer laptop, but you might not need that. You might not care about that. And that's totally okay, obviously. I think you can live for a year or more on a not current version of Mac OS. Like, we know that. I'm doing it. So do you need to upgrade? No. Will you start getting to a point where software features might not be available to you because you're on an older OS? I mean, we've basically already had this conversation, with a different lens earlier this episode. So like, all of that remains true, but I don't think you need to upgrade right away. But I think thinking about it over the next 12 to 18 months is probably the right move, because the friction of that upgrade will only continue to grow. And again, it's the same conversation we were having about my situation earlier, where, at some point that leap is going to be a larger one than I want to put myself in the position of having to make. That said, moving to macOS 26 for my dad from his, God, what was it? He was running macOS 12 or something on that computer. It was yeah. I mean, he just, I don't know that he was on the latest that he could have been on, but he certainly couldn't have been on, anything close to this. And it was all fine. He had started using Chrome because Safari with security certificates started getting weird. And so, he just updated that. And so that upgrade was not painful for him. So, it depends on what you're using it for and how, like, deep into things all your stuff is integrated. But yeah, I don't think you need to do it right away unless you think you need to do it right away. Like, if there's some reason, great. But yeah, I think Intel Macs, like, when you bought that computer, I would have said, we didn't know that Apple Silicon was coming, of course, but when you bought that computer, I would have said, consider that a 10-year computer for you. And I think I'm still, like, if I rewind back and listen to what I just said, I think I'm basically still saying that.
Yeah.
Like, but probably not any more than that, just because of that silicon transition.
Well, and hardware is eventually going to wear out too. Eventually.
Yeah, yes.
That's part of it. But we have some history here, Dave, because it turns out, in my recollection is that at some point, many couple decades ago now, Apple went from PowerPC to Intel.
Yep.
And they supported it for a long time. And I think as long as they're somewhat supporting it, I don't think I'd go more than a year without a security update on the old. I think they're going to keep doing security updates on that operating system, at least for a while. And until they stop doing that, I think you're okay from a safety standpoint.
From that standpoint. Yeah, you might have software features that you're missing out on and all that. Yeah, I agree with you that the PowerPC to Intel transition certainly was similar, but that was at a time when we were replacing our computers every 3 years just because of speed, right? Like, things have changed since then. And so we've gone from a 3-year computer to a 10-year computer. And that change kind of happened by surprise. It happened very abruptly. Like suddenly, it really was that Intel transition when we got to multi-core Macs and all of that stuff. Probably by the second generation of those Intel Macs, suddenly we were on our 10-year computers. And it was like, oh yeah, it's been 3 years, but this is still fine. I don't need it. The whole multi-core thing, I think, changed that dramatically for us. Yeah. So, but anyway, I think that it's safe to consider that a 10-year computer.
So the short answer is it depends.
Well, it always depends. But I mean, and then there's also the new shiny desire thing, which matters. Like, at the end of the day, that's often why we buy stuff.
That's what ripped me out of my chair and put me in the Apple Silicon.
Yeah, and I think Adam too. Like, I don't want to speak for him, but I mean, there was some version of that where he was like, it's time. Like, yeah, okay, cool.
I had a screaming MacBook Pro. Absolutely,
Oh, those 2019 MacBook Pros were like, when they came, it was almost a shame. I felt bad for everybody. Well, because like suddenly they had this computer that still, by all accounts, was one of, if not the best Mac laptop ever put out, right? Like capability wise, speed, all of the stuff. And then suddenly it was like, well, but is it? There was this question of like, oh, it's old now. And it's like, well, it's not that old, But those people that bought 2019 and 2020, or MacBooks, like John Braun was one of them.
Yeah.
He had, I think it was early 2020, but it was that 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro. And it was an awesome computer. Yeah. But it was like, but it ain't Apple Silicon.
Yeah, then my nephew had the bad manners to show up at my house with a MacBook Air M1.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Smoked it.
Right. That was the thing I went and bought a MacBook, like later that same year, I bought an M1 Air that we still use. Like, it is Lisa's primary computer and it's awesome. And, John and I did some tests and he was like, that what? And I'm like, yeah, I know. And he's like, my computer cost 3 times as much as that less than a year ago. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like that was the part where it was like, but still, here we are 7 years later. There's nothing wrong with that computer. It's still fast enough. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Your use case.
It's your use case. Yeah. So, all right.
We can. One more question, I think.
Yeah, I like
Angel
this.
wrote in and he said, can you go into more detail, please, on how the Home Assistant MCP server works? Home Assistant controls all of my automation, so I rely on it very much. Angel.
Right. So we mentioned last week that Home Assistant had released an MCP server connector. I think MCP server is probably the right term. Yeah. And this is a great question, and what we said last week remains true. The MCP server allows your AI agents like Claude Cowork, Claude Code, OpenClaw, whatever Cursor. There's things that you can use to manage AI agents. I think OpenAI's got something. If it's not out yet, it's coming. And your AI agents can connect to in this case, your Home Assistant interface. The way MCP is, I said it last week, and I'll say it again, Model Context Protocol, I think I have that right. It is a platform agnostic interface, kind of like an API, right? We've talked about APIs before that connects two different services and lets them talk with each other. So in the case of the Home Assistant one, once you set up the MCP server, you integrate it into whatever AI. Claude Cowork is a perfect example because it's very user-friendly and user-faceable. You add this Home Assistant MCP server to it. You authenticate, right, and give it access. And when you give it access, you will go through a process of saying, here's what I'm letting it do. Here's what I'm not letting it do. And then once you do that in Claude, you can say, here are the things that you can do with my permission, and here are the things that you can do without my permission, right? Like in the moment. And so for Home Assistant, what this would do is it would let the AI engine read the state of every one of your Home Assistant devices and also run automations and change the state of these devices so you can have your AI agent controlling your home, and it's using Home Assistant to do it. So it's like an API. It's just this interface, but it's not tied to any one AI engine. It's all of them support this MCP protocol. Does that make sense, Pete? Before I move on to kind of the next thing in the steps here. Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions on that? And you reserve the right to ask them even after I go to the next thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this week, it became known to me, Stephen Robles actually just posted about it on X, that Fastmail now has an MCP server that they have released. And that lets if you have a Fastmail account, and MCP servers have existed for Gmail and several of the other sort of much, much larger email services for a while. And I've felt left out because I have Fastmail as my primary email, so I can't have my AI agent go and like look at my email in that way. I had to do it through like an IMAP interface, and that's, not necessarily the best. But they just released a Fastmail MCP server, and it gets to see, again, with your permission, it gets to see Fastmail, your email, of course. Fastmail also has calendars and contacts, and it can look at that, and then you can, then it can use all of that data as context with your permission. Like, I just want to make that as clear as possible. You have to log in, and like I said, you kind of go through this granular process of choosing what's there and what's not there. So it allows your AI agent to be much smarter. We were just talking earlier in the episode. Here's a great tie-in.
Yeah. You
were talking about, let your agentic browser do this for you, right? And I don't think that use case is covered by this MCP, but I mentioned how, the agentic browsers are fine, but navigating that web tree of JavaScript is a mess. This allows your agentic AI in the browser or elsewhere to bypass having to do that because it can just talk to the server directly. And that's a much more reliable way than saying, log into, my Fastmail web interface and reply to an email for me. The Fastmail web interface is very robust, but that means that it's a, rat's nest of JavaScript. I don't mean to say that they have bad code. They probably have great code over there, but it doesn't matter. It's a lot for, one thing.
More data than
it's just complex. Yeah, exactly. Because it's so robust. And so this allows it to bypass that, because that interface isn't for computers. That interface is for humans. And so it's a very different thing. When you can have the computers talk computer language to each other, they can be very specific and very reliable. And that's what all these MCPs do. So as you get deeper and deeper into using agentic AI, not just agentic browsing, but agentic AI, meaning the AI is going and doing things for you, all of these MCPs are like, these are the huge level ups, because if you can connect it to the things that you use in a reliable, efficient way, it changes everything. Does that help? Does that make sense, Pete?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
It's fun. Yeah. It's fun. All right.
More cool stuff.
Where are we here? Sure.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
take us to Bram. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so Bram wrote in. You responded to him first, but then I saw it, and I'm like, ooh, I like this too. This is
we're
cool.
all going to like this. Yeah.
So he says, okay, technically not Mac specific, but I think it fits in spirit. So I've been a Firefox fan since when animals, also foxes, still spoke. It's my main browser, my daily driver, and one of those reasons is bookmark keywords. When setting or editing a bookmark, you can set a keyword you can use as a shortcut in the address bar. So for instance, he has DD open up his drive.google.com. YT opens YouTube for him and all that. Super fast way to get around. You'll wonder how you ever did without it. Turns out Chromium-based browsers, it's impossible because of how Omnibox, the address bar, is exposed to the API. So out of love, he says, I built a Chrome extension that does almost the same. You just need to set a trigger word first. I set mine to G for go. So typing G space DD fires up drive.google.com. Just search for keyword navigation and with the icon with the bunny in the Chrome Web Store, and it lets you set your own trigger word, obviously shortcut keywords. He says, I should look into Safari. Bram Fastronaut. And so it turns out, so it works in Chrome.
It works in all. I installed
it. Atlas. It works in Comet.
I installed it into Comet, Pete, and within just to test it out to make sure, to understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
And within the first 30 seconds, I was like, I will never want to run a browser without this ever again. As long as I have a keyboard in front of me.
Done years ago. This is so...
It was. Safari had this.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wonder if it's still this, because I remember you could go to Safari and type things like NYT, and it would bring you to the New York Times. I remember Steve Jobs talking about that. I don't think that exists anymore. But Safari you couldn't customize it. Yeah. But with this one, I put in, I say G space MGG, and now, boom, it should take me to MacGeekGab.com. Maybe I did it wrong. I don't know. But, I don't have it installed on this computer. Oh, no, I do.
There you go. That would be wise. So,
yeah.
Here was my workaround for that for years was in Text Expander, or in my case, I use Rocket.
Oh, yeah. No, it works. G space MGG. Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Yeah. So, if I type /SN, it takes me to docs.google.com show notes for Mac Geek Gab. So
sure,
every week I could, but
that's doing it with text replacement.
Yeah, it's much cleaner to have a plugin.
This plugin's awesome. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's
thank you.
Yeah, yep, good stuff. Doesn't work. It doesn't exist for Safari yet, but I'm guessing.
He's thinking about it.
Well, if he's thinking about it, what that means is he can send his little coding agent off to investigate how to take this functionality and make it work in a package that would make Safari happy. And I'm curious to see where he and his agent. I'm making assumptions that you would use a coding agent in today's world.
Well, he talked about talking animals, and Safari is definitely a different animal. So
it is, yeah, and for better and for worse better too. Worse, I mean, yeah. Speaking of a different animal, and I don't have our listener's name that sent this to me, so my apologies. But it is a cool stuff made, and it is an app called I Love a Piano, and it is a piano. It is a keyboard for your iPhone, like a playable keyboard. And what's cool about it is the way that it looks. When your iPhone's in portrait mode, you actually get a stack of keyboards so that you can play multiple octaves at the same time. And I use it. Having a piano in my pocket is a game changer. I've always had a piano app. This is the best piano app I've ever used. It just the user interface of sliding around. It's super happy. The use case that I have most often, I don't have perfect pitch, and I actually am quite thankful for that, because when things are out of tune or we choose to play something in a different key, it doesn't drive me crazy like it does my friends who have perfect pitch. Playing with Chris Breen and of Macworld All-Star Band and Macworld fame and all the stuff that he's done. He has perfect pitch. And when we would play songs in the All-Star Band, when we would adjust a key, the easiest way for him to do it, if he had learned the song, on piano in its normal key, was he would just use the button on his piano to change. You can transpose. You can make it so that, when you press down on the C, it's it's an E flat, right? And then the whole thing shifts. It's a transpose button. And I would tell him, I'm like, oh, they're changing the key. Just use your button. And he's like, you don't understand. He's like, when I play the C, I need to hear a C. He's like, he's like, I'm going to do it because I know it in this key, but it's going to mess with me the whole time. I'm like, wow, that's really a problem for you, isn't it? So anyway, but I use it backstage before we go out, especially in one of the bands I play in. Oftentimes, not always, the first song that we play is Journey's Any Way You Want It. And we start it with a full a cappella intro. Because it's a cool way to start that song. It's impressive and hopefully it brings people in. To ensure its impressiveness, we sing it backstage to make sure that if somebody's maybe not quite warmed up, the brain body connection, it just helps to do it once where there's no stakes or lower stakes anyway. And so I'll pull up the piano and I play the chord on my phone and then do this. And this is going to make it so much better. Plus, it has a great organ sound in it, like that B3, that Hammond organ kind of sound. It's really good. So, and the app is available for iPhone it's like $4. So,
not even $3.99.
$3.99. There you go. Yep. So I still can't remember the name of the person who sent it in, which is a listener, Max Melman. Thank you very much. It's written right there. I was like, I know that I'll find it on the page. Max, thank you for creating this app and for telling us all about it. Yeah. All right, we're at the 121 mark, Pete. I think we have to. I think we've got to make a judgment.
A quick
call
exit.
Here.
Yeah. Well, speaking of telling us all about it, can you do a favor for us, please? Can you find one or two people this week that have a tech issue come up? Can you tell them about this show? Turn them on to it. Woo-hoo. Share the show.
That would be great. Love it. Love it. It's great. We keep hearing from people who are new to the show, and it makes me so happy that that the Mac Geek easy for me. Wow, you'd think
you've never said that before,
years,
Dave.
I should be able to say this. The Mac Geek Gab family is still growing and thriving here. Makes me really happy. Speaking of thriving, a couple of things. Thanks to all of you who are premium subscribers. I said it a couple of weeks ago. We need to find an efficient way to acknowledge you in the episodes, and I'm going to work on this. I promise. But if you have ideas, you get to write into premium at MacGeekGab.com, and all of your stuff is prioritized, even though we really do try to get to everything. But thank you to all of you who are premium subscribers at MacGeekGab.com/premium. It's not required, obviously, but it is extremely appreciated and a necessary thing, to be quite candid. It is a huge part of what the fuel that keeps this show going. So thank you for being part of that fuel. All right, thanks to CashFly for providing all the bandwidth to get the show from us to you. You missed Adam today, so make sure to go listen to the latest episode of the Debut Film Podcast. Pete's got his So There I Was, and I've got my Business Brain and Geek Gab. All of those are linked in the show notes and can be found wherever you get your podcast. Unless you get your podcast in the Mac Geek Gab app, and then that's the only podcast you can get there. Yeah. But it's kind of purpose-built, So, but which is what makes it fun, because we can do specific things, like things that are specific to the show. Speaking of which, if you have an idea about something specific to the show that you would like to have when you're listening to Mac Geek Gab, send it in to us, feedback@macgeekgab.com, or in our Discord or anywhere you want. And I was going to say we'll put it on the list for the app, but the nice part with AI assisted coding is the list is pretty easy to get through these days, and it's kind of fun. So thanks for hanging out with us. Pete, your shirt doesn't say it. Can you remind me what your shirt usually says?
Usually it's just "Don't get caught."
Yeah, that's what it says. Later.